we kind of flew over this stage, big stage, and there are these plays going on. So it's like past, present, future. So on one side of this big stage is a past life, like let's say in 1800s is playing out. The characters are standing there, and then in the middle is the present day, and on the right side is the future characters, and it's like pitch dark and you cannot see anything. All I see is just a pitch dark. I cannot see the characters. And then suddenly this spotlight beams onto the characters that are in the middle, the present day. And then so I became aware of these characters, and they said, okay, now you see that because the light or is on them, everybody's attention is on this spot. So you see, but you don't see the other ones, the past and the future, because they're in the dark, but they're on the stage itself. And so when the light shifts to that, then it looks like nothing else is existing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel Within. I am Mira, and today I'm delighted to be speaking with Ritu, who has had multiple STEs, spiritual transformative experiences, and let's delve into these. Welcome, Ritu, and thank you so much for being here with me today.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. I am so glad to be talking to you and all the ones who will be listening to the podcast. I'm as delighted to be able to answer any of your questions or any curiosity you have about my experiences.
Excellent, Ritu. So, how about we get started with life before the STEs, like how you grew up and your background, etc.
Who that is a little interesting because when and where I was growing up, my environment did not support what was going on inside me. So I grew up pretty lost, timid, scared, terrorized sometimes, very quiet. So I was born and raised in India in a Hindu family. And as all parents try their very best to give everything to their child, my parents, with their backgrounds, they tried their best, but somehow I did not fit in with that environment because what I saw around me was people, the daily life that we see, eat, get up, eat, sleep, family gatherings, and go to school, go to work, parties, some movies, some laughter, which was all there around me. But that did not make any sense to me at all. At age 21, my father was one of those, please, please, please come to our house. Please bless our house. Please come to our house. So this particular saint came to our house. And as usual, I just bowed down to him. It's like, just another saint, get their blessing. Then a little while later, maybe a few days or a month later, we happened to go to his ashram, which wasn't anything new either. But what I saw, not because of the miracles I saw, but the invitation that I felt, we got out of it was me, my parents. We got out of the car, and at that time, that ashram was being built. So it was just a tiny little two-room construction going on, and there was a long pathway to the gate of the ashram that was closed. So it was a gravel pathway. And as we are getting out of the car outside the gate, we see that uh, saint. It was summertime, in white, sleeveless, just white gown. He is walking all the way in that hot, blazing sun on that gravel path to receive us. And we were shocked. My mother exclaimed, and it's like, look at this. He is such a great saint. I mean, thousands and thousands of people visit him. And he never came in the media or advertised himself. It was just who he was that brought people to him. And he is walking all the way to the gate to open it and to receive us. And how humble he is. And so he blessed us, and there was just most beautiful smile on his face. And my just heart was just melting already. And then he walked with us all the way to the outside of the room. And right before we got to the outside of the room, he said, well, go ahead, go sit down. There are other people sitting in there too, and I'll be back in a few minutes. We walked into the room and sat down. And after a couple of minutes, my mother talked to the lady sitting next to her and said, you know how great this saint is. Look, I still cannot get over it that he got up, left your congregation here to walk all the way to receive us. And the lady looked at us and said, what are you talking about? He was here with us. He never left the room. He just walked inside. There was another room inside that room, and he just walked in there right before you came in, and he was here the whole time. He never left the room. So that was something that didn't quite register in our brains, but it was quite interesting. And then soon after that, he started doing kirtan. Kirtan is like the holy gospel singing type that is in Hindus. We do that. So that saint is very well known as a great singer. He started singing, and the whole congregation was sitting in the courtyard with no roof on top. And suddenly I see, and there were musicians too with their instruments, and there was no roof, and I see these black clouds coming. It's like, how could you arrange something like this when there are like it's going to be thunderstorming pretty soon? And I am not thinking, I have no attention. I'm not paying any attention to these kirtan. My plan is, how can I dash inside to the covered porch when the rain comes? My exit plan. And then it starts pouring. And the rain is pouring everywhere except the square where we are all sitting, as if there is this invisible roof on top. And so that was quite astounding. And then as we sat down inside, and that I just felt something so different, just so much love and peace just emanating from him. I had never felt something like that before. And for the first time, I felt like an invitation to ask. And so opened my mouth and I asked him this great existential question. I said, is there actually a heaven and hell? Like we all the time hear about that. And he paused and he looked at me for a few seconds and he said, there is no heaven or hell. It is all your state of mind. It was not an answer I expected, but I did not take the time to process it either. I don't think I have the capacity to process it at that moment. And so I just shot out another question. And I guess he knew that she is so bubbling with so many questions. this is not going, I don't know what he knew, but he knew about me because he can see through your soul and your entire journey. And he said, he did not answer any question, and I frankly, don't even remember what I asked, but he said, all the answers to all your questions are within you. Go experience them for yourself. And like when he said that, even though he said it with so much love and gentleness, it felt like a full stop. It felt like this is it. There is no more invitation anymore for any questions or any conversations. And it really did turn out to be that way. And then he gave me Guru Diksha. Guru Diksha is like initiation, which I had absolutely no clue about. I did not know what a guru is. I just knew saints. I did not know what guru is, what spirituality is, what I just had my questions. That's all. I was not uh, I did not have any preconceived notions about any of the spiritual path or what a guru is. So I did not even know what to do with that. He gave it to me, okay, end of story. And he said, well, just chant it sometimes. That's all he told me. I was like, okay, now and then I will chant it. And we left. So as we were leaving, I was gonna leave, and it was way after lunchtime. So he called me. He had left. And from a distance, he called me. He said, Ritu, stop. I take prasad. Prasad is like that consecrated offering, when a saint gives you, it becomes holy, it becomes energized. And so I was like, okay. And then I'm watching him coming all the way from like many, several feet away, empty handed. And there is nobody else around because everybody else had already gone to the car. And like, why? Like, where is the prasad? Because you expect to be some dry fruits or some fruit or something. There's nothing around me. He's not carrying anything. How is he going to give me prasad? So I'm like, I was a bit surprised. He came in front of me and he said, okay, take prasad. And I didn't know what to do. That was, so he said, open your hands. So I opened my hands like this. That's how you receive prasad. And then he just put his hand like this on top, and my whole hand was full of a mixture of dry fruits, and which I quickly, took into my shirt, and I wasn't expecting that. So these were some, and this is all I knew about him. These are the miracles I witnessed, but I didn't give it any second thought. I was more into the answer he had given me. And so with that, I came to USA. I mean, I had already been here, but I had visited, and then this thing happened and I came back. And that was it. I was not really in touch with him, no conversations or anything, but my quest continued. And then many years later, I happened to come across some people, without going into the stories, that it was brought to my attention that I am very sensitive to the energies. And it is something that after people have meditated for 20 years, 30 years, the kind of sensitivity that they grow, like you have that, which it was interesting information, but I didn't know what to do about it. And I, again, so I was a software engineer, And this is way back internet or cell phones, and we had these yellow pages. And if you needed to find something or someplace, you had to go through this thick directory to find some information. And I was always kind of a loner. And so wasn't like I had a social network to tell me anything. But I started having lots of spiritual experiences, which I had no framework for. And I just knew that they made me feel very good. And it was just something I had no language for. I couldn't explain it in words. And I had nobody else around me to discuss it with. So, but
Ritu,
so,
thanks for sharing that miraculous um, interaction with that guru in the ashram. First of all, he being more than one place at a time, then the no rain in the square where you guys were sitting, and then the prasad. So that by itself, without any, second thoughts about it, that those are beautiful experiences to have had. And then do you think that sets you it helped on your way to have the transformative experiences because you were inquisitive by nature and wanted to know more? Then you met him, you asked, and do you think he blessed you for these experiences?
oh, 1000%. Everything has been by His grace. So His name is Swami Mohan Das Ji Maharaj.
Mhm.
He has been a yogi. So there are enlightened masters, but then there are yogis. It's very rare that it's an enlightened master and a fully perfected yogi. When it's perfected yogi, we give them a title of 1008. So he's also, we call him Shri Shri 1008 Yogi Raj. So for more than 30 years, he did his spiritual penances, his spiritual practices in natural caves underground, in the mountains and caves of on the mountains and caves of Rajasthan. And so there isn't anything that you can imagine that he didn't have that power. So we have seen, I am a witness. I mean, I've had a long journey since then, but and there are thousands of others that are witnesses who lived around him. That anything you can imagine, he had that power, but he never used it for display. Only it was only when it was totally necessary for it to be shown to someone, he would do it. So, and he, like I said, he never advertised it and he never made himself publicly available in media. He would just visit devotees' houses, and that's where people would throng to. And then at one point, he came out of the jungles, out of the caves, and off the mountains to the cities to build his ashrams because his guru told him to. So since then, we have heard of so many people uh, themselves witnessing these and experiencing these blessings. So, yes, absolutely, everything has been His grace, and I attribute absolutely everything to it. And so I was having these. So, this was another thing to say that which I'm able to say now, that the guru doesn't have to be physically present with you. Even though I'm in USA, he's in India. It was almost like energetically when guru initiates you energetically, it's like with remote control. You He is able to manage your energies, and he knows every single thing that is going on internally as far as your spiritual growth is concerned, and which I had many, many, many evidences of that throughout my life. And so one of some of the things that I was experiencing were at nighttime, I could see um, right before that nanosecond before you go into deep sleep, how your etheric body leaves your gross body, and it goes into these realms, and there are these beings, council of beings that are sort of, I don't know if they apply to everybody, listening to everybody's experiences. It doesn't seem like they're the same ones that are guiding everyone, but there were these, I had experiences, these council of beings that are guiding me. And then I am noticing myself, like three versions of me simultaneously. I'm noticing me, the gross body that is in the bed. I'm noticing like a consciousness body. I don't know what a spiritual term for it would be, but the one, it's kind of like a media between the two. And there is one that's with the council of beings, and who is, and all three know, are experiencing each other at the same time. So so because of these experiences, because I had, or I would say my guru arranged it, I suspect it, his conspiracy, since we're in the middle of all these conspiracy theories. The I think the conspiracy was to keep her completely away from every external resource. And everything has to come from inside her, and the insights, her interpretations have to come from inside her. And so it continued that way. And that's how I learned how important it is when we go to sleep, how important it is to go in the right frame of mind, in the right mindset, because that time is being really utilized for your guidance. And so,
That
um,
reminds me of
mhm.
your discussion of the simultaneous lives and the stage. So, if you could talk about that a little bit, because it is so fascinating. And uh, I have recently, relatively recently, been introduced to that concept, and it resonates the more I hear about it. So, with you talking about the three separate use, if you can talk, does that, is that a natural segue to the simultaneous lives?
Sure. So the main, one of the biggest spiritually transformative experiences that I had, um, it was after that, during that STE, I experienced there is no time, there is no space. It is only our mind that makes it necessary to have a construct of a linear time and linear, and this feeling of a space. So it is kind of like a void, and everything is happening in this void. So after that STE, realizing that, I would question, how is it that we have these past lives and then we have these future lives? And so, where is this time? Of course, your mind wants to understand, which I know that it is beyond the mind to, we can never understand something infinite through our linear mind. It is impossible. It has never happened. It won't happen, but we keep trying. So I had that question, and I got this insight to to get away from. I was sitting at the desk in my office, And some things happened which made me, it was safer to go into the ladies' restroom. So this profound insight came to me in the ladies' restroom. I sat there in the stall and everything's buzzing. And so, coming to that experience, so I had my eyes closed and I saw this being come to me and say, let me show you how, kind of give you some logical, like it's not logical, but something your mind can grapple with. So we kind of flew over this stage, big stage, and there are these plays going on. So there are, it's like past, present, future. So on one side of this big stage is a past life, like let's say in 1800s is playing out. The characters are standing there, and then in the middle is the present day, and on the right side is the future characters, and it's like pitch dark and you cannot see anything. All I see is just a pitch dark. I cannot see the characters. And then suddenly the spotlight beams onto the characters that are in the middle, the present day. And then so I became aware of these characters, and they said, okay, now you see that because the light or is on them, everybody's attention is on this spot. So you see, but you don't see the other ones, the past and the future, because they're in the dark, but they're on the stage itself. And so when the light shifts to that, then it looks like nothing else is existing. There are no other characters except this. So that was my quick little rendition of how I understood or how my mind can now see that it's really where our mind is focuses because guru masters like my Guruji Shri Swami Mohan Ji Maharaj, they have this 360-degree vision. So that's how they are able to see everything all at the same time. It's kind of like an aerial view versus standing on street number 43, where you can only see a few steps ahead of you, which is what our mind makes us do. But when we go beyond the mind and we are looking from that aerial view, then that is where the guru can see your entire journey, all that, because his light is on everything. And so,
That is such a beautiful explanation, and it makes it so easy to follow, versus hearing a more complex or something. This was just
abstract.
beautifully illustrated, abstract, exactly the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And before we started recording, I was telling you that I love that you didn't have the NDE per se, but the spiritual transformative experiences where you're asking questions, getting these experiences, assimilating, and it's rinse, repeat. And that is so hopeful for us listening that we don't have to die to have these beautiful experiences that you're
Yeah.
having. Um, that was a beautiful one. Which one was your most impactful SDE?
So yes, most impactful in the way, the one that made me change my life direction. So all were impactful because without each one of them, I would not have had the insights. But the one that completely made me change my life direction 180 degrees. So I had started researching and going to some random meditation groups and wanting to see, can I meditate? Because, like I said, there was no direct communication coming from my guru, which I really complained about it at that time. In hindsight, I know that he knew that that was the best path for me, and now I know that was the best path for me. So he wanted me to do my own scavenger hunting, and I'm not a quitter, so I ended up I found this about 40 minutes drive away, a spiritual bookstore, a metaphysical bookstore that had opened up. And inside the room, the lady or the owner would hold meditation. It wasn't a workshop. You can just gather and do on your own meditation. So I also had the interest, like, "Ah, finally, I find some books. There's some books. I can find some answers." So I really went there for the books. I wasn't that interested in the meditation. But then I went there and we started meditating, and I went really deep. And I was just doing some random guided meditation for myself, just telling myself, let go of all your burdens, and kind of like a guided visualization I was doing. It wasn't anything deeply profound more than that. But I went really deep into it, and I did not realize that it was already 9 o'clock and 9 p.m., and the store was going to close. Everybody had left already, I think 2 hours before that, but I had been sitting there for about 3 hours. And when I came out of it, I realized, oh, there is no time left to scrounge through the books. And the lady is about to close the store. So little disappointment, but I was feeling very peaceful. So I want to preface it with my state of mind. And but it was like, there was nothing, like big lights went off or anything. There were no insights or anything. And I left the store, went into the parking lot, a small parking lot within, like, it was like almost like residential area. So there weren't like these bright lights or anything, almost dark, only my car there and the owner's car there. I got into the car and I turned on the ignition key. As soon as I put the key in the ignition key lock and turned, I heard this loudest explosion. And for a nanosecond, I felt my car's blown up. There was a bomb in my car or something. And then, boom, it was just this void, pure void. And it's like 360 degrees. There's no beginning, no end, and there's nothing but love. I have yet to find, there is no language to explain that love. It wasn't like there was something that had love or that owned love or was loving. That would be very wrong to say it that. It was just love. And its very nature was love. And that love was 1,000 times more than if you take all the love on this planet, all the moms, and you take all of them and you multiply it, I don't know, 1,000 billion infinite times. It was that love. And that love was overflowing. And analogy for that is if you take a cotton towel and you dip it in bucket of water and then you pull it out, how it's so saturated, and then the water is just dripping, dripping, dripping. It was like that. That love was so saturated that it was just dripping. And that drip, which are called love drops, those love drops was manifesting as forms. So everything, the tree, every blade of grass, every flower, everything that we see in form is the love drops. And I noticed I was not aware of my body at all. I was only aware of that there is somebody who's present, of my presence, just a non-physical presence. But I was crying, I was just bawling. My heart was not able to contain that feeling of that love. And I am bawling and I am saying, how can I have forgotten this? How can I be separate from this? Like, this is just, this is just infinite. There is no, it's just so much that there is no way possible to be separate from this, to forget this. And how can I have been separate from this? I don't know how long that state I was in went on, but then there was like this tiniest little jerk, like when in the car, when you switch the gear, and then I was it. That love, that all pervading love, all that's formless, the void, the no beginning, no end, no time, no space, all forms, everything, all of that, that's me. I am that. And I don't know how long that was there like that. But then there was this another little jerk, like jerk's not the real word, but like a little vibration. And then I saw myself, which I call like macro me and mini me. I've not found the language other than that, where it's all that pervasive, all that is I am. And then there is a conscious awareness of a mini me. I'm still not aware of my body and all, but the second I became aware of this mini me, I'm flying faster than the speed of thought through this space of stars. And the stars are flying towards me, but they're not hitting me because I'm not aware of my physical body anyways, but they come, I see them coming, and then poof, they just disappear. And then I'm just flying through the space, through these stars, and I'm bawling and I'm crying. And I'm saying, like, how do we get off track? Where does all this violence and how can we disconnect from this love? It's not possible. And then the next moment, I am thinking, wait a minute, if all of that is me, and there is this mini me, who is this that is able to be aware of this and that? And then it seemed like, because I was not aware of my physical body, but somewhere around my head, that there is a field, a force field around my head that is able to be aware and think like this, or have this consciousness and process this. And um, and then I saw that this mini me is connected with these love strands, because this mini me is just like a shadow extension, like a ray of that love, like a drop of that love, but not separate from it, but just as like a shadow extension for its unique experience, because that me, macro me, wants to experience its infiniteness in its uniqueness through all of this unique forms.
Wow.
Which is forever in exhaustibly connected to the love, because it's not like an umbilical cord where it's cut from the mother or the child. It is that, but just in a mini form. And so, um, and I'm just bawling in my heart. It's just like my heart is just gonna explode into a bazillion pieces. It's that love is so hard to contain. And as the tears are streaming from my eyes, I notice that I'm turning off the the key in my car. And for the first time, I notice that I'm parked in my driveway in my house. So how did I get? When did I push the accelerator? How did I drive 40 minutes? How did I get to my driveway? So it was that long, the whole experience. First time so it's almost like when you come out of deep meditation, you're half there, half not there. So I'm still not processing. I At that time, I'm not thinking about this, that how did I get there, or I was there and now I'm here. I just know I'm still, just tears are just streaming. And and I become aware of my physical body, my physical reality. I walk into the house, change my clothes. I sit back in the bed, like still half zoned out, and not even know what has happened. And as soon as I sat in the bed, the whole feeling started again. But this time it was multisensory. It was the smell of something like incense, but it's not incense. It's just, I don't know, put together all the flowers on the planet and put together all the incense in the planet. I cannot even describe it. It's filling up my nostrils. And it's going all the way to my third eye and filling up my forehead and my head. And it is extreme, like my senses cannot hold this. And then I'm hearing these sounds. It's like a field all around me, far behind me, above me, around me. And it's almost like a unison chanting, which is most closely can be explained like if there were 1,000 rishis or monks, the old time Hindu monks sitting and in one unison chanting these Sanskrit mantras, the harmony the chant, the words were not something I could make out what the words, but the sound was like that. The harmony of that. There is no harmony like that on this physical planet. And so that is going on, and all of this love is going on, and these smell is going on. And like my whole body, it's like I'm becoming aware of every cell in my body. It's just vibrating. And it feels like I will explode in a million pieces because I do not, my gross body does not have my senses don't have the capacity to hold this. And it reached a point where it just does not the audible scream, but inside, I just like, stop, I need for this to stop. I can't hold it. And it didn't even take a nanosecond, Mira. It all disappeared. Not the feeling, not the peace and the beauty of it and the truth of it, or how real it was. And this was, gosh, almost more than 30, about 30 years ago. Yeah, when you say, happiest moments, these are such beautiful, and this and so many others that I'm
Yeah.
able to go to. Absolutely. So, um, so it was after that, why it was most transformative, because there was something inside me that started telling me, there was like this voice, this knowing, this not an audible voice in my head, but in my being, that started telling me that the kind of life I was living, where I'm software engineer, and I loved my job. I loved it. I loved my job. I loved the company I worked for. I loved the people there. So there was no reason why I would feel I don't want to do this anymore, other than there was something in my being that kept telling me, this is not what you came here for. But then what? I don't know what else. I came here for. What am I supposed to be doing? But there was something, even though I did not have realistic knowledge about energy healing, I had that's something to do with healing, something to do with helping other people, with something to do with my hands, with the energy, but I was clueless. And if there was any person on this planet who doubted herself or himself, I take number one seat on that. I had so much, I'd grown up with so much confusion, so much always trying to fit into the world, always trying to do what others, the environment, society, culture, everybody's saying, well, this is the way, we know better, and trying to live that. I had so much confusion. I had no idea how I would even embark on it. So I doubted everything that came from within me, not my experiences, but what am I supposed to do with that? So it would be much longer stories, but I ended up. Where I ended up doing energy healing, and then it went into spiritual counseling. But at one point, I learned from majority of the people that were coming to me, and they were miraculous healings happening. Not all of them, because everybody is at a different stage and different karmic path. So, but there were miraculous healings which told me through my experience, real lived experience, this works. There is something called energy, and there is something in your intention. It is all about your intention. You can be doing, in logical terms, something wrong, uh, procedure, energetically, but if your intention is right, your heart is at the right place, universe is waiting to guide you, to help you, and just bring your good intention. I witnessed miracles, and my son was one of them. So it's the closest I know. Why? Because I lived it. I lived it, what was going on. And my son permanently healed, and just through the energy. But majority of the people that were coming, they were using it as a method of just depending on someone else, like fix me. And then I don't have to look within myself, and I continue to be dependent. And that is the part I did not like, because I myself was on the journey of healing myself from my traumas, my confusion, me integrating this world and that world, and and that it all comes from first believing in yourself, learning to love yourself, learning to feel I am the power. My experiences have shown me that. Now I have to bring it into this while living in this mind and this body. And so connect to your own power. And I felt that the people need to have a process wherein they're not in denial, they're not suppressing what is going on within their mental realm, their limiting beliefs, their suppressed emotions, their traumas, that there is a place for all other kinds of healing, but they need to have that conversation. And I have a very structured method of it's using compassion as the main influencer in this. So you feel empowered, you connect to your own subconscious. It's like, my guru put me through this ringer. I'm not going to let you off the hook. you you have to look at what is going on inside you. And but I'm there as a support, as a guide. So I have been doing that. But during that journey, one of the things you had asked me is, before we got online, is the experiencing Shiva in Lord
Yes.
Shiva.
Yeah, if you can talk
Yeah,
about an STE with
yeah,
that Indian spirituality, that'll be beautiful, Ritu.
yeah. Yes, that was again, I had no previous framework for it. And I was very, very lucky that I did not know from external resources. I had no validations, I had no preconceived notions, I had no expectations. But eventually, my guru finally took mercy on me and told me, well, you gotta sit down every day for 1 hour, and you have to meditate. You have to focus on your third eye, and you just have to keep your spine straight. And nothing else. Like nothing else, he tells me. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm doing it properly or not. But I said, I will follow that. While I was doing that, Mira, I started noticing this energy vibrations inside me, which much later I found out is called Kundalini energy, Shakti, the divine, the mother goddess, divine energy that we say, that had awakened. Maybe it was always there in a mini form. I don't know, but it was present. I know that because of the pressure I felt, the vibrations I felt in my spine, and then my whole body would have different vibrations and kind of vibrations so strong sometimes that even if I want to, I can't do them or I can't sustain them for that long. And there would be some kriyas like yoga asanas sometimes or mudras, which are like hand gestures, which I still don't know what they meant, and but it was automatically happening. And but I was in a such I trusted my guru so completely, not knowing. It wasn't a mental belief. It wasn't a mental process. Oh, I should. It was the reason I believed him. Let me backtrack a little bit. The main STE that I had of I am the macro me, mini me. So about a year later, I happened to visit India and I went in front of my guru's presence. See, up until then, I had no idea what a guru is, what my guru's abilities are, other than what I had seen back then. I had no idea. But as soon as I walked into the room, he's sitting there. I had that same experience. That love that I had experienced in my STE was this. This was sitting there. And I could see like his formlessness. And out of that, a form is sitting. This is so hard to describe, but it's just all love energy, that infinite, unexplainable love energy. And out of that is like a hologram of a form that's sitting there. That is when I knew what guru means and what a real capable guru means. And so, and later on, um, I have not read scriptures. Later on, I came across, we have internet, so about Vedas and Upanishads and the schools of thought within Sanatan Dharma and the Advaita Vedanta school of thought within Sanatan Dharma, which is aka Hinduism, but Hinduism is not the correct word for it. And within that, it's there they say Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. And for me, those weren't words. When I saw that, I had tears flowing. Like, I know what this means. Every fiber of my body knows what this means. And each one is Brahma itself. And mistaking to be separate, well, that's a whole different conversation. So coming back to this day when this energy, so I had learned from that time, surrender to him. Not that I'm completely surrendered being, I have my healing journey, integration journey, and anxieties and panics and everything that I have been through. But as far as these things, unexplainable things are concerned, that's his department. It's surrendered to him. I'm not going to question it, and I am not going to focus too much on it. So it's happening, it's happening. I don't know. Maybe it's a medical disease I got. Well, that's his department, and that's for him to take care of it now, if that's what it is. But then suddenly I start experiencing while I'm meditating. Now, like I said, I did not grow up in a religious environment. So, and I never had any ritualistic practice to praying or worshiping any deity. I had no picture, no statue of any deity in my house. I did not have any TV shows or anything in my environment where I was focusing on or praying to any of the deities. So, if anything, that's what I would have expected. But no, I am sitting and I see myself as Lord Shiva sitting. And it's almost like I'm floating. I'm feeling like I'm floating. I'm not even on the ground. And it's not just Lord Shiva, but that energy of Lord Shiva and the whole beingness, that's me. And it was a little confusing for me, but I let it go. And then few days later, I am just walking nonchalantly, totally engrossed in some other activity I'm doing. And as I'm walking, I get the feeling of Lord Vishnu. And not Lord Vishnu, but you know how he has this nag, how would you,
The serpents?
serpent
Yes.
um, over his head.
Crown. Yes.
Yeah, kind of like crown, like umbrella.
Yes.
I sensed that. And it completely stopped in my tracks. I'm like, what was that? Where have I seen it? And it was just, I was trying to remember. I have seen that somewhere, but I couldn't relate. And then I see Ma Durga version. Then I see Ma Kali version. These are different times. But then there was a phase I went through where I felt like that Rudra Dev, the Rudra form, the energetic, the angry, the not so much angry, but the not the meditative Shiva, but the one Nataraj, the one who's dancing. And I am one of those very timid people who at that time could not have danced if my life depended upon it. But here I am. I'm like in that mode and I'm observing myself.
So,
And
Ritu, are these out of body? So you're out there looking in,
no,
or in
this is just
meditation, you're
like,
seeing it?
no, this is just while walking, just while standing, just like you and I are talking like that. Imagine I just stand up and I just acting like that. And there's a part of me that's in shock observing what this energy is like. It's taken over me and I'm going through that. And then same with like Ma Kali, and which is not my nature. And so that's why the contrast was just so wide for to not be noticed. And now this was getting too confusing. I'm like, okay, you're sitting in meditation and these things are happening. That's behind closed door. But this kind of thing is happening when you're just out and about. And I have two children. I'm taking care of my household. I'm grocery shopping. I'm driving my car and all of these things are happening. And so during that phase, I was also going through a phase where I'm noticing everything is just vibrating energy. It's just molecules vibrating. Nothing is solid. And at that time, I had no knowledge of quantum physics, quantum fields, or so it's not coming from my stored memory. It's not coming from my conscious information. This is just happening. And I am noticing, like, oh, nothing is solid. You can just walk through. And that made me then know how the masters, yogis, can rearrange their life trance, their cells, and uh, their chi, and transform and be multiple places at the same time because they can do it at will, and because there is no fiber inside them that does not know that nothing is solid, that everything is just fluid, it's just elastic, and it's just all space. And that's how they multiply themselves, or my guru multiply. So, like these insights or this putting two and two together started coming to me. And it's so I said, well, next time he comes, I know he put a full stop on. He's so frustrating. He doesn't answer me anything. And I even used to write him a letter because he had told me, write me a letter once a month. And when you write letter, you expect a response. But he never responded either. My letters just went into this, but he knew everything. He knew, as before I was writing, he knew what I was going to write and what I had written, which I got the evidence later
Well,
on.
it
Long
seems
stories.
it seems, Ritu, like you were not getting a letter back, but you were getting the experiences back.
It's
So he was answering just in a different manner. That
in
is
a different manner. You're going to figure it out yourself. You're going to think about introspect. So, I did get to meet him. He came to USA, and I did get to, so very scared, like, am I not allowed to ask? But it's like I cannot move forward anymore. I need to ask him this question. What is this? Because here it is. I was thinking, oh my, so my ego is inflating or something, I'm there is a part of me that wants to be these gods and goddesses, and I can't allow that. I can't let that seed grow. And it's like there is no way my guru's not watching this, and I know he will nip it in the bud. But I don't want to be encouraging that. I really, really sat with myself to see what part of me wants these experiences. Like, am I wanting these experiences to feel something? But there wasn't a part of me that would like, no, I don't have that, but I wanted the verification. And I cannot move forward because otherwise it's taking me in a wrong direction. So that's when my guru had this great mercy on me, and he finally spoke two sentences, and he said, all of this happens. Don't focus on them. Anything happening, let it happen. You keep continuing your sadhana, your practices. These are all your own forms of your own soul. These are forms of your own soul. So that just opened up. Mm, um, I'd say the whole Vedas to me, like the essence of Vedas kind of assimilated inside me. I would say, like, after that, I had no, I still have lots of curiosity and lots of questioning about this or that, but that existential question I never had after that. And no, I didn't have fear of death to begin with, but after that STE, I never had it. And then after these experiences, there was like, there's no more questioning what is
Yeah.
beyond.
I have a question with regards to seeing the those divine beings. So was it where you are just able to know, or you got the visions of them within you, superimposed on you? How did that happen?
No, it's like that's me.
It's you. Okay. You became them. Or they became you.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, yeah, that's me. But there is a tiny part of me that's also observing this and having and freaking out a little bit. Always freaking out. I'm always excited for the new because it's infinite. How are you going to encapsulate it? How can your mind ever know the infinite? Never. So it's just every day is a new suspense, it's a new curiosity, new excitement. And the infinite just shows up in so many different ways. You always see those synchronistic things happening, and that's the beauty that
I love
continues.
Yeah, I love that analogy. And, it's always so unique and custom made for the person experiencing it. Like
Yes.
you have experienced these beautiful transformative experiences. Thank you so much, Ritu, for sharing those beautiful experiences with us. I'm I have a question with is there anything that feels important to share that we have not touched on already?
Know that you are loved no matter what. No matter what. You are here for your unique journey, and you came with a blueprint, and you keep of doing your earthly life dharma, but you are forever connected constantly. You're never, never, never alone. Just call upon and let go of your any beliefs or anything you've collected from the external, and differentiate the opinions of others and the collection of information from outside. um, See where it's coming from. Are they enlightened? have are they truly happy? Are they truly peaceful? If they're not, then take it with a grain of salt, with what they have uh, conditioned you or programmed you with. Try to let that go, and any hurts, pains, emotional unresolved emotions that are within you, and just work on letting that go. You are already that. You are not searching for that. You are not lost. It's not far away from you. You are that. You just need to let go of what's blocking it from shining through you.
That
Even though
is
that was covered already.
no, that is just really beautiful, simple advice. And thank you so much for sharing that, Ritu. I am so grateful to have spent this
Thank
time
you.
with you and having this remarkable conversation. And I hope that everyone enjoyed this as much as I did. Thank you so much, Ritu.